you will understand how difficult it is for you to survive, okay, without trees. Trees are like, they are breathing for us, they are providing us with the natural breath. Throughout the day, the trees produce oxygen which helps us survive. Well, you might argue that oxygen might be there in the atmosphere even without the presence of the trees. Yes, they might be, but it will be used up very fast if it is not regulated. Okay, so trees, they help us breathe, they help us survive by regulating the amount of oxygen in the air, and they do not take anything from us in return. Whatever we have in nature, the trees are sustaining them, the trees are helping the ground to be solid. You go to a place where there is no trees, you will see that it's like a desert place where the ground is so loose, the ground does not have any grip. In a desert, if you go where there is no tree, you will see that you can't even walk properly, right? So the ground is even held in position because of the tree. The soil layer on which we build our houses, on which we build our fancy big shopping malls and everything else, they are constructed, they are able to be constructed on the ground because of the presence of trees all around, which have held the ground so well. Okay, they also regulate the temperature in the atmosphere, they also give us fresh air, and also they provide a natural habitat for all the different wild animals, right? So in this chapter we are going to find out how trees are essential for our sustenance, how they give us so many things, but how they mean different things to different people. Let us start the poem Trees by Shirley Baur. Trees are for birds, trees are for children. Trees are to make tree houses in. Do you know what a tree house is? Have you seen a tree house? Have you built a tree house? I'm sure that if you have a house in the village where there are lots of trees around you, it might be possible for you to build a tree house there. But here in our town, it is not so easy because there are so few trees around us, and even in our houses, if we have trees, they are decorative plants like flowering plants where you can't make tree houses, right? Tree houses are small wooden huts or small cottages which are built for playing by children. Okay, good afternoon, Akash. So you have joined late in the class, no? Okay, so the tree houses are an integral part of childhood of many people, of many children. Okay, but here it is not so common because we have so few trees around us. Then trees are for birds. Trees are places where birds make their nest. Trees are for children who play there, okay, beneath the shadow of the trees. Sometimes they climb the trees if they get a chance. Trees are to make houses in. Trees are to swing, swings on. Have you seen a swing, a natural swing, a rope which is made on the branch, which is which is tied on the branch of a tree and it acts as a swing? Have you seen it? Have you been on it? If so, you can share the experience with me, okay, because it's a lovely experience. So trees branches can also be used to make swings, okay, that is, the ropes can be hung from the tree branches and children or grown-ups, they can play. Trees are for the wind to blow through. Such a beautiful picture of nature is presented because of the trees. Whenever the storm comes, we can see the beauty of nature when the tree moves from this side and that side, as if nature and trees, they are just an integral part of one another. Okay, trees are to hide behind in hide and seek. For children, when you play hide and seek, trees can be a very favorite spot to hide yourself behind. Trees are to have tea parties under. Tea parties can be arranged under the shade of a tree, something which you kids can do, something adults can do. Okay, trees are for kites to get caught in. Trees are for kites to get caught in. That means sometimes when you fly kites, you can see that kites get caught when they fall. Yes, good afternoon, Ishita and Shobhik. The kites, they sometimes get caught in the tree branches. Okay, so all of this pictures gives you an indication that trees are an integral part of our survival. Okay, they are an integral part of the childhood of a person because the children, they should be surrounded by nature, and if they do get a chance to be near trees, they do so many activities associated with it. Trees are to make cool shade in summer. Cool shade in summer, that means during summertime when it is so hot outside, if you go just under the shade of a tree, you will see such a difference of temperature. In our town also, you will see that you feel much more hot in a marketplace, and if you suddenly go to a place like say Deer Park or the Golab or that place Golab, if you go near that place, you will see that the temperature difference is quite a bit because of the presence of trees. Even in very hot summer days, you can get some relief if you are near trees. Okay. Trees are to make no shade in winter. Okay. Trees are for apples to grow on and pears. Trees are to chop down and call timber. Trees are for apples and pears. That means during summer we take a shade from the trees. From the winter also, during winter there is no shade under the trees. So you don't take during winter, obviously the sun does not, in their country especially, the sun is not so bright. So they do not require to have any shade during the winter. Trees are for apples to grow on and pears. Lots of different fruits can be found from the orchard. Okay, that is the different fruit trees which are there. We can get so many different fruits. Trees are to chop down and call timber. We often chop down trees also, people do that. They cut the wood from the tree, they make it into timber, they use it for different purposes. Trees make mothers say, what a lovely picture to paint. Okay, that is, sometimes whenever you're growing up, now you have grown up quite a lot, when you are kids, the first pictures that you draw are generally of trees and birds and hills, right? So trees are such things which you can draw marvelously in your copy, and if you produce it to your parents or anybody else, they will say what a marvelous picture to paint. Trees make fathers say, what a lot of leaves to rake this fall. That is, if you have a tree in your backyard, in your garden, during the fall season, that is just before the season of winter comes, the fall season, the autumn season, all the leaves of the trees, they fall. Okay, so the father might complain, or whoever has to clean the tree leaves, they have to complain like, what a lot of tree leaves to clean. Rake means to clean, okay, using a rake. Rake is a gardening instrument, gardening tool rather, and it is used to clean the different leaves of the tree. Okay, so trees have so many different purposes in our life. Trees are an integral part of our life. So our motto will be to plant as many trees as possible. Doesn't matter even if you are planting a small gardening plant, do it in a lot of numbers. It will also be helpful to us. Okay, so this poem is very easy to understand. This poem is very easy to remember also, if you can memorize it. It's an easy poem to memorize. Come to the discussion of question answers. Yes, this poem is very nice. Come to the question answers portion. What are the games or human activities which use trees or in which trees also participate? Tell me, what are the different activities which you can think of in which trees also participate? Okay, tell, or will you think about it and we can get it from you later? There are a lot of different activities. House making, playing hide and seek, cool shades in summer, fire camp parties in winter, fruits and many more. Gathering fruits you will write. Okay, good. Now the next question is, trees are to make no shade in winter. What does this mean? Contrast this line with the line immediately before it. Who can answer this question? During winter time we need sunlight, not the cool shade of trees as it is. Akash, have you already written the answers or you are just copying the answers from those websites which give out the free answers? Written. Very good then. You are a very fast typer. Very good. Okay, during winter time we need sunlight, not the cool shades of trees as it is already cold. In summertime we need the protection from sunlight and trees provide the cool shades. Okay. Good. Very good. Next, so you can understand he has written the perfect answers. Trees are for apples to grow on or pears. Do you agree that one purpose of a tree is to have fruit on it? Or do you think this line is humorous? Yes, this is a subjective question. A subjective question means a question which you have to give your own personal opinion. Right, it can mean a different thing to different people. If some of you might feel like the purpose of a tree is to give us fruits, some of you might feel that fruits are just a part of the tree's life. It's a part of its biological circle. It does not mean that the only purpose of the tree is to give fruit. Okay. So, for humans, it is the purpose, but for trees, it's not the purpose. Just to bear fruits is not the purpose of a tree. But it can have, you can write any answer you want because it's a subjective question which should be like a value added question. With the help of your partner, try to rewrite some lines in the poem or add new ones of your own as in the following examples. Trees are for birds to build nests in, trees are for people to sit under. You can compose the similar poem. It is an outside activity. You can do it on your own, and I don't know if some of you are poets or not in this class, since I did not have a chance to interact with you on a personal basis before. Okay, so if you do come up with some different lines of these poems, share it with us. Okay, so today I am not going to do this chapter anymore. Let us start a new chapter today. Open your supplementary reader. Okay. So students, take out your supplementary book. Take out supplementary book and take out the chapter number 7, Chandni. Okay. Are you guys ready to start a new chapter? Once upon a time, there lived an old man in Almora. He was popularly known as Abbu Khan. Almora means we are going to start a story about North India. Okay, Almora is a place in North India. He lived all alone, except for a few goats which he always kept as pets. He gave his goats funny names such as Kalua, Mungia or Gujri. He would take them out for grazing during the day and talk to them as one talks to one's own children. At night, he would bring them back to his little hut and put a string around the neck of each goat. So, Abbu Khan was a man who lived alone with his goats. He treated the goats like his own family. Okay, he treated the goats like his own family. He would talk to them as if they were his own children, and also he would properly treat them. He would bring them back to his hut and put a string around the neck of each goat. Poor Abbu Khan was a little unlucky in the matter of his goats. Very often at night, one of the goats would pull at the string till it broke loose and then would disappear in the hills beyond. Goats in hilly regions hate being tied to trees or poles. They love their freedom. Abbu Khan's goats were of the best hill breed. They too loved their freedom, so whenever they got the chance, they would run away only to get killed by an old wolf who lived in the hills. So often at night, during the night time, the goats would feel like they need a breath of fresh air. They did not like to be tied down. Okay, so obviously they are creatures, they are wild, they are animals who are domesticated. However, they like their freedom a lot, right? And even though Abbu Khan loved them a lot, the goats would sometimes feel like escaping from his place. But whenever they made their escape during the deep of the night, an old wolf who lived in the hills would eat them up. Okay, and so the goats was not able to survive. Whenever one of his goats disappeared, Abbu Khan was very sad. He did not understand why even the juiciest grass and grains that he gave them and all the love that he showered on them would not stop these unfortunate goats from running straight into the jaws of death. For Abu Khan, it was difficult to understand because he felt like he gave them the best care and he loved them so much. He gave them the juiciest grass, yet the goats needed to escape from his place. He couldn't understand it why. Would not stop these unfortunate goats from running straight into the jaws of the death. Okay, so the goats, even though Abu Khan used to love them a lot, they did not understand it. They obviously understood it, but it was not enough to keep them from running away. Are these goats mad? He wondered. Or was it their love for freedom? Obviously, it was their love for freedom. No goat would purposefully go out in the night to get killed. But freedom meant struggle, hardship, even death. Abu Khan couldn't solve the mystery that why his goats behaved in this manner. One day when all his goats had left him, Abu Khan said to himself, "No more goats in my house ever again. I may yet live for a few more years, but I'll live without goats." So he was so much upset because all the goats had run away and obviously they were killed by the old wolf, that he decided that no, I'm not going to keep any more goats in my house anymore, because it was so much, he used to be emotionally invested in them. He used to treat them so well, but still they ran away and they got killed. So he decided that no, I'm not going to keep goats anymore. Okay. However, the poor old man was terribly lonely. He simply couldn't do without his pets. Very soon he bought a young goat. He thought, a young goat will stay with me much longer. She will soon begin to love me as well as the food I give her every day. She will never want to go to the hills. And he laughed with joy. He felt like if I start raising a young goat, it's a young goat, it's a very small goat. So if I'm raising it from its young age, maybe I can train the goat well, and the goat will start loving me so much that it will not understand the need to go out. The new goat was very pretty. She was white as snow and had two little horns on her little head and a pair of gleaming red eyes. She had a friendly temperament and would listen to Abu Khan's tales with lots of interest and affection. So Abu Khan even told her a lot of stories. Okay, and the goats listened. Abu Khan called her Chandni, which means moonlight, because she was so white that he called her moonlight. He loved Chandni and would narrate to her stories of all his friends who were dead and gone. Several years passed. Chandni was still there. Abu Khan believed that Chandni would never leave his compound for the free and fresh air of the hills beyond. Alas, he was mistaken again. Every morning, now come to the next section. Every morning, Chandni watched the hilltops bathed in the sunlight. How beautiful those hills are, she thought. Okay, so every morning, since she was a goat who was kept in isolation, she didn't have any other company of goats. So at first, she didn't have an idea about going out from the bounds of the house. But every day when she used to stay in her compound, she would look at the hills and she would think how beautiful those hilltops are. She thought, how refreshing the breeze that blows through them. That is, the breeze, the cool air, the fresh air that blows through those hills must be so beautiful, must be so fresh. And how lovely to run across those green fields. So even she started having the same dream which the goats previous to her had. She had a dream of escaping from that bondage position and running wild and running free in those green meadows. She ran towards the hill but had to stop with a jerk. The rope round her neck wouldn't let her go any further. How she hated that rope. Now that rope which bound her neck to a stick. Okay, so the old man had obviously tied this goat properly. That stopped her from escaping. She stopped eating the green grass Abu Khan brought for her, nor did she listen to his stories with interest and affection. She lost her appetite, grew very thin, and stared moodily at the hilltops bathed in sunlight. So she also started having a lot of temperament issues. Okay, as Abu Khan had thought this goat is of a good temperament, but it was not the case, because she felt very sad that she couldn't run, that she couldn't be free to do what she wanted. She stopped eating and she stopped listening to Abu Khan. At last she decided to speak to him frankly. Dear Abu Khan, let me go to the hills please. If I stay on in your compound, I'll die. Now Abu Khan understood Chandni's problems. Now he understood what is the problem Chandni was facing. That is, it is not like she did not love him, but it was that she loved her freedom much more. She wanted to she wanted to go to the hills to enjoy the greenery there, to get the breath of fresh air. Okay, so that's why she wanted to go to the green fields. That's why she was feeling so much anguished. Now Abu Khan understood Chandni's problem, but it made him very unhappy. The earthen pot which contained Chandni's breakfast fell from his hands and broke into 1,000 pieces. So Abu Khan was so much shocked because of Chandni's answer or want, desires. He dropped the earthen pot, the pot made of mud. Earthen pot means pot made of mud, and then he dropped it and it broke into 1,000 pieces. Why do you want to leave me, Chandni? Abu Khan asked. I want to go to the hills, Chandni answered. Don't you like the food here? I'll give you tastier food and a much longer rope. That is, the rope also I will increase so that you can move about a little bit more, and I'll give you a very tasty food. No, thank you. Let me go to the hills. Yes. So I don't need all these things, but just let me go to the hills. Do you realize the risk you are running, you obstinate creature? Obstinate means stubborn. Okay, you stubborn creature, don't you understand what risk will be there if you go to the hills? There is a dangerous wolf in the hills. He'll eat you up. Abu Khan did his best to warn her. Chandni answered, God has given me a pair of horns. I'll fight the wolf. I can fight it. Fight the wolf indeed. Have you forgotten the story of your sister Kalua, who was the size of a big deer? She fought the wolf through the night but was killed in the morning. Abu Khan narrated Kalua's story for the 50th time. Okay. Do we have any time left, students, or shall I stop the class? Do we have any time left? It's 12:45, so we have 5 minutes left. Okay, good. Let me just do this little portion. Chandni only replied, I want to go to the hills. Abu Khan got very annoyed. He thundered, you are not going anywhere. From today you live in a small hut and not move about freely in the compound. Ungrateful as you are, you must still be saved from the wolf. That is, no matter how ungrateful you are of my kindness, of my love for you, I should still help you to get yourself saved from the bad wolf. He pushed her into a small hut and shut the door, but he forgot to close the small window at the back. The same night, Chandni made that window her passage to freedom. So today we are going to stop here, or do you want me to continue? A little bit is left. Let us skip it, because tomorrow we don't have any class, do we? You have an exam tomorrow. Let me continue, okay, if you don't have any problem. Do you think I'm going very fast for you to understand? Because this is a very simple story, I think you can understand it. Okay, so let us start with the next section. Thank you, students. Now Chandni escaped from that small hut in which Abu Khan put her, and she escaped. Now let's see what happens. Come to page number 49. Chandni reached the hills. It seemed to her that the old hills were standing in a row to welcome her. She felt like a child meeting her parents after years of separation, as if nature was embracing her, giving her a warm welcome, asking her to come and enjoy nature. Wherever she went, the tall grass rose to embrace her. The flowers bloomed to amuse her, and the wind sang an endless song of welcome. So she felt so happy. All the beautiful things of nature, all the beautiful facets of nature was welcoming her. The flowers were greeting her, the tall grass was greeting her. It was as if she had come back to her family. How different all this was from her past in the prison house of Abu Khan's compound. It was the happiest day in Chandni's life. That day, she played for hours on the grassy slopes of the hill. She met a herd of wild goats who asked her to join their group. So the wild goats, they asked her that you come and join our group. But Chandni refused. She wanted to enjoy her new freedom all by herself. If she was a part of a group, she thought that maybe her freedom might be compromised. So she thought that I'll enjoy all this on my own. The sun disappeared behind the hills and soon darkness enveloped the grass. Enveloped means covered the grass, the flowers and the trees. The wind stopped blowing and there was stillness all around except for a strange sound which was coming from the bushes. The sound was like a grunt. Compromised. Compromise means to change, to adjust yourself to a situation. Okay, like if Chandni had to be a part of a group, she had to give her freedom away a little bit because she needed to be a part of a group. If she lived with them, she had to go by their rules, by their opinions and everything. She couldn't be completely free as she was before. Okay, so during night time, the entire scenario changed. A fearful atmosphere was replaced. Okay, that means it replaced the lovely free morning time, and a grunting sound was also coming from the bush. What was it? It wasn't Abu Khan's voice calling her back to the compound, nor was it the voice of another goat. Then Chandni thought of the dangerous wolf who lived in the hills. She felt scared. So she remembered all the warnings that was there. Okay, and she felt very scared. Should she go back to the safety of Abu Khan's hut? No, she said to herself. Death in an open field is far better than life in a small hut. This is very important in this. Okay, this line is very important. For a natural creature, even dying in the midst of nature is much more welcoming than spending days and days being bound inside a small hut. Okay, so freedom is much more important. The wolf had come out of the bushes and was staring greedily at Chandni. His eyes were shining like burning coals in the darkness. He seemed in no hurry. He knew the new goat was his. He knew that there was no way this goat can save itself. The wolf and the goat sized each other up. The wolf was big and ferocious, whereas the goat, though healthy, was small. But small is not weak. Chandni stood firm on her legs, head slightly bent and horns jutting out. She was a picture of courage. No matter if her girth, if her physical appearance was like small, even then she had the courage. She had a lot of bravery in her. She looked like a brave soldier ready to fight a treacherous enemy. Treacherous means somebody who betrays you. Okay. I must put up a good fight. Success or failure is a matter of luck or chance. This is also very true. The fight began. It went on through the night. The moon, which had been watching the fight, began to grow pale and suddenly hid behind the clouds. Okay, because the moon was as if afraid for Chandni and sad for Chandni as well, and it hid behind the clouds. The stars also began to disappear one by one. A faint light appeared in the east, and the morning call for prayer came from a distance. The first ray of the sun saw Chandni lying on the ground. She was completely soaked in blood. The wolf, tired and sleepy, was getting ready to devour her. Devour her means eat her, completely finish her. An assembly of birds perched on top of a tree nearby was debating the result of the fight. Who is the winner? One of them asked. The wolf, of course, most of them said. A wise old bird declaimed with confidence. Declaimed means he opposed their claims, opposed the fact. All of them were saying that the wolf has become the winner, but he went opposed to that and he said Chandni is the winner. Okay, because you can understand that winning or losing is not a part of that situation. The fact that Chandni put up a fight for such a long time being a small goat and she survived, it was enough. Okay. So we are going to end the class here. Understood? Next day we are going to continue with this chapter. We can discuss a little bit more. I hope you understood this story. Okay. Bye student. What happened at last is, it's an open ending. We don't know about it. But what is important is that Chandni fought throughout the night and still she survived. That's quite a big win. Okay, let's hope for Chandni that she is able to escape from the wolf at the last time. Okay, but it's an open-ended story. Thank you students.